Hello and welcome to this edition of Phi TV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson, and we are coming to you just a few blocks from Florida's capital. We are in the midst of committee weeks in advance of the 2021 legislative session. Today, we're joined by Senator Ed Hooper, a senator from North Pinellas County and West Pasco County. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Brad. My pleasure.
Well, you're an old friend. It's great to have you on. I finally get you in the studio, so we're going to rock and roll today. First, let's start out by talking about your biggest priorities for the legislative session. What are you working on this year?
I think the two biggest priorities I'm working on this year, one involves Visit Florida as we recover from pandemic. Tourism is our #1 industry in Florida, and tourism has taken a terrific hit, so I want to make sure that Visit Florida is positioned in a strong way to help attract those folks from not only all over this country, but when it's appropriate from all over the world to come back and visit us. And the second is, it may not be flashy or sound important, but Pasco County has a 800-acre site that's been donated to Moffitt Cancer Center. And I think Moffitt has an interest in consolidating every facet of cancer research, treatment, ancillary services, x-ray, chemotherapy, making a giant campus similar to MD Anderson in Houston, one of the preeminent cancer treatment centers. And Moffitt now has an opportunity to start that campus build out in a way that they can handle people from everywhere.
What's amazing is you don't have to just be from the Tampa Bay area, but we all have friends and families that literally Moffitt has saved, from the cancerous, tipping point. So, well, what a neat project. That'll be good. Well, let's go back to Visit Florida real quick. Former Senator Dana Young is at the helm of that amazing organization. And when we think about Visit Florida, I think your average Floridian may not know really what they do. Just tell us a little bit about what they do.
They market Florida. They operate a lot in the U.S., but everywhere to tell people this is what we have, this is what's available for you, and it can be anything from visiting one of our state parks, our springs, all the way up to Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, space rockets. Right. We enjoyed, I think the last numbers I saw was 130 million out-of-state visitors. That doesn't count those of us that go intra-state to see what's available throughout this wonderful state. 130 million visitors drives this economy pretty darn well.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen by accident. And advertising is what brings in the customers, right?
I think Coca-Cola and everybody else has figured out if we don't advertise, we don't sell.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, good luck on that priority. I know, fighting for those programs is always a challenge, and we know you're putting your back into it. All right, so let's talk about, you are currently the chair of the Commerce and Tourism Committee, which addresses a lot of things in addition to tourism, and we obviously just talked about Visit Florida. What will be the priorities of that committee, and what do you expect to see?
I didn't know just how expansive that committee reach was, and then when I started dealing with our staff director and seeing the areas that we cover, it was like, wow, this is a pretty big committee. Yeah. And this year it could be as simple as not only the tourism industry, but our whole economic engine of everything we do in Florida has a presence in that committee. And I think one of the bigger things we may do this year is that may be the committee that yesterday, our first official meeting to hear bills, we passed out unanimous the ability to collect sales tax on internet transactions. Right. We were one or two states that did not. So we're working on that. And the other big
one for brick and mortar businesses in Florida.
Big one for our retailers who are struggling. Yep. And I think the other big one we may deal with this year is some form of gaming compact to
something simple like that.
Like something simple that could generate somewhere between $300 and $600 million of revenue each year. Yeah. So other than that, nothing going on, nothing exciting, nothing to see here.
Well, for those of us that know you, we're not surprised by President Simpson's confidence in your leadership of such a large committee, and we know that your I would say pragmatic and diplomatic way of managing all the issues and items that'll come before you will be handled well. And I think those of us that are in this business, we're glad you're there, and we're thankful for your leadership for sure.
I appreciate President Simpson's confidence in me to operate that committee and in the way that serves all of us.
All right, in our few seconds we have left, I always ask this of all of our guests: what are you watching? What are you streaming when you're not saving the free world leading as Senator Ed Hooper? What are you watching at home?
What I watch at home is, I'm kind of a sports nut, so I watch the full spectrum of sports, especially golf. Mm-hmm. And there's this little team in Tampa called the Buccaneers that have my attention a little bit.
I've heard about them lately. Right.
I think they have one more game left this season. Interesting to see what Major League Baseball, how they will conduct themselves this coming session. Yeah. And then I try to keep up with my wife's posting on Facebook that she keeps.
She crushes it.
I know.
She crushes it.
She's good. She's good at that, and I'm not.
Well, from everybody at Phi TV, send our best to Lee. We know she's she's half of the political engine that you guys have. So, and we're grateful for you coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for today's episode of Phi TV. Make sure you look us up on Facebook and Twitter and all of our social media handles for more great interviews like this one. For now, thanks for tuning in.